This video is to add new assets to TMS. So we're going to start right into the asset new, which you would find at the very top of the banner. So work orders assets, and you would do asset new. So we're already in there, but we'll just start it again. Do you want to save it? No. Change our form here. Okay, so when we're adding a new asset, you would first put in your new asset number. So your asset number would be your asset tag, the sticker. It's also known as an ECN. So we're just going to put one of our asset numbers in there. Manufacturer, you would go into the looking glass, the lookup, and we would put in our manufacturer. So in this case, we're going to put it as a Philips device. So star, Philips, star, and we're going to query this. So all these manufacturers will be in our database. And then what we'll do is we're going to look up the model number. Now, when you're looking up your model number, it's going to be referenced on the manufacturer's sticker as a model number or a model name. If you don't see it, please reference your how to add a new model video. But for now, we're just going to pick one. Okay, and now we would fill in all the other relevant data. So a common name would be something that the tech would use to try to find it. The serial number is something you would find on the manufacturer's tag. So we're just going to put a serial number in here. Alternate asset ID would be something that maybe the other clinical staff would be using. So that would be a name of a device or a number. The replace asset number would be something that if it was done in a capital purchase, that this was going to be replacing something else. So now we'll pick our segment and site. So your segment should be defaulted to whatever segment you're working in. In this case, we're working at St. Paul's, which is a PHC one. Our site we're going to pick as St. Paul's Hospital. As you can see, it limits the amount of sites that you can choose from. The additional location would be if you wanted to say that was in a particular room. Sure. And then the department we're going to pick as whatever the department that purchased this device. The team is the team who's going to be taking care of it. So in which case we're going to use the clinical team, which is the PHC team. And also what we need to capture is its network capability. So is this device actually connected to the network? Its first question is yes, wireless, which means it just has a wireless card. Yes, cable connected, which means it's a hardwired device. Yes, it can do wireless and cable connection, or no, it has no wireless capability or no network capability. So no. How is it currently networked? Well, that's only relevant if it is a network device, and you'll be able to select from the drop downs. Is there patient information stored on this device? It's a quick yes or no answer. And we'll hit save. So once we hit save, what happens is that you'll add additional tabs. Oh, we have a duplicate asset. So you'll see that if you make a mistake, that it will automatically alert you that, hey, there's a problem. So once you hit save, there's going to be additional tabs that are going to be showing up. Once it's figured out what it wants to do with this full file here. There we go. Okay. Would you like to create a work order for this device? Well, before we close this, I just want to explain this will actually automatically open an incoming inspection for the device. So it's just an automatic generation. I always click no because I want to continue on with my asset, but there's nothing wrong with you clicking yes. So now it comes into more important information. It's the purchasing warranty information. So in here you would put the date it came in, was the date accepted, your PO price, which should be the price that you see on the purchase order information. So we're just going to make up a number here. Right now, this would not be what you would do. You would actually reference your purchase order information. Your acquisition ownership, this is actually really important. How did you acquire this device? Most of the cases you'll be a purchase, but you can have it as a contract or a rental, or it could be donated. So it's very important to select the right one. The subcategory, we'll select it. Is it the additional, so it's a net new, a repair by exchange, or is it a replacement? So is it replacing a device that died? The funding source, well, this would be if it's under $5,000, it's minor operating. Major capital was made as a big group purchase. So in this case, we're doing a minor operating. The finite asset number, those will eventually be retired, but there's still some that are used, so that's where you would put it. Capital control number and your project ID. I'm not too sure if we still have a lot of project IDs, but that's where you would capture. Purchase order number. Well, this would be your PO number, so 100 whatever. And then your PO receiving document attached. So you don't have to attach it to all your devices, but your first one should have the PO attached to it. So we're going to hit yes, and we'll explain why later. So PO attached, and this is where you would go into your folder up above. So we're going to, sorry, getting ahead of myself. So we'll go into the document upload. And if you go into your assets, you would attach your PO information here. So we don't have a PO document to attach, but you would describe, oh, we do actually. Sure. So this is where you would describe the PO number, and then you would put your PO number in there. And so once you save this, it saves directly to this asset, but doesn't mean that this group couldn't find, like if you have 10 thermometers that came in on one purchase order, we'll be able to query and find this original purchase order information. So for now, we're just uploading it to one asset. So we'll close it. And now we'll put in the warranty information. So here it's going to be covered under Philips again. So we're just going to look up for Philips. And warranty start and end dates can vary. So that's why we have it as an open field. Usually it's from the first day you accept it, and then a year after that. But check your purchase order information because it'll tell you what the exact details are. And if there's anything special about the warranty terms, like say it's parts and service or just service, that's where you would put that in. Network and hardware and software information. Well, this is if the device is connected to the network. And so what you would want to know is that, is there a service level agreement with the computer, the PC? You want to know its hardware information. So if it's got its MAC address, its IP, its subnet and gateway. The wireless information, which also is the same thing. RFID MAC addresses, that's particularly for if it's got an RFID tag attached to it and for inventory purposes. Network information is pretty straightforward. The computer hardware information would be where you would put your PC box information. So this would be where you would want to capture if it's a Lenovo, a Lenovo or Dell. What's the serial model and make? Computer software information is particularly what OS it's running off of. Is it a Linux or Windows, and what type? And also you can put your software version detail if there's a specific make it was made out of and what version of antivirus. The medical application info is actually where you would capture your medical device that's attached to it. Like if it's got a special EndoPro software on there, this is where you would capture that. And the application license key as well as the software version as well on there. So if we go into life cycle, this is more if your device, when you're going to be querying it later on in life, is it coming to an end of life? It's not very pertinent to a new asset, but it's just to identify that, yes, we do find end of life's information in there. So just to know where it is. Comments and edit log. Well, you'll find that this gets populated later on in its asset cycle. So right now it's going to be blank. If there's any information that you want to capture, you can always fill in as the additional information comment section. History also will be blank, but if you said yes to creating a work order, you'll see it populate into the work order history. Contracts. This is something that we'll be using in the future, but if there is a specific contract, what happens is that if you populate this information, it actually flags every time that you're working on this asset that there is a contract that's in place. And last but not least, PM information. This is just to show you what the schedule is like. So in this case, it's a 365 day, which means it's annual. And what it does is that you'll see the next due date. It says 2013. Don't be concerned about this. It's just what happens when you're creating a new asset, that it goes out and it pulls a template. And in this case, our template says it's on 2013. It pulls that template and attaches it to the device to say that, okay, it's due, it's overdue. Once you complete the incoming inspection, it clears it, it starts it off from the day you completed that work order. So that's the end of creating a new asset into TMS.